So hello and welcome to our free presentation, everyone. We're going to talk to you about how to launch your fingerprinting business with confidence, no matter what state you're in. So this is across the board, applicable to all states. So if you just typed which state and what city you are hailing from, good news, you can start a fingerprinting business there. And we're going to do our best today to keep this at about 45 minutes for the actual presentation, because I really want to respect your time, but I also want to pack this thing full of values so you understand what it's going to take to succeed as a fingerprinting business owner in your state. So for those of you who do not know, my name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of NotaryCoach.com. And Notary Coach is where you go to grow. I'm going in my 10th or 11th year of coaching notary entrepreneurs and how to create a business that lasts and thrives beyond loan signings, focusing on the daily sales and prospecting habits and the education that helps notaries stand out and expand their business with specialty work that creates more revenue. And that's why I'm so excited to talk about the fingerprinting opportunity with my friend and colleague, Brandon Edwards of Secure Biometrics. And I'll introduce you to him here in just a moment. So here's what you can expect today. We're aiming at that 45-minute casual conversation and presentation between me, Brandon, and you, talking about how to build a business in fingerprinting in any state. So that's your first lesson right there. And I really want you to write this down. Lesson number one for all 44 people who are on today's call: a fingerprinting business can be built in any state, all 50 of them. And soon I'm going to bring up Brandon and introduce you to him. He's going to talk about why fingerprinting makes so much sense. And we're going to do that through breaking down the 5 biggest misconceptions that notary entrepreneurs have about this business, the opportunity in general, and where some of that stems from. Then we'll tell you exactly how to get started. And then for those who are excited and serious about this, and what this business can do for their revenue and their future, we put together a pretty incredible course bundle just for you. And we'll talk about that at the very end. And as usual, we make plenty of time for all of your questions. So we're going to hang out here for as long as it takes to make sure that you get all of your questions answered. So if you do think of a question, write it down. You can certainly put it in the chat, but we may or may not get to it right away. But I promise I'll go back through the chat and we'll start picking those great questions out during the Q&A session. And I am excited to introduce you to Brandon. He's one of the very first members of my very first class called Sign and Thrive, Notary Training Course and Community, way back in 2017. It was May 20th, 2017 that I launched that course. And I think Brandon was one of my first students. And we hit it off right away because he was starting to build a notary business in Texas. Now, along the way, though, Brandon got introduced to fingerprinting, and his entrepreneurial mind kind of took that and ran with it. He saw the opportunity and he built that into his business. And he's going to tell you how he scaled that from very humble beginnings as a mobile notary in Houston to now having a fingerprinting empire. Now, he and I have been through some things over the last few years. We've been really working hard trying to bring valuable, transparent information about the fingerprinting industry to the notary community. It has not been easy, but now we've got it dialed in. Not only has he built a fingerprinting empire across multiple states, making millions of dollars in revenue, he now has a program that shines a light back for the rest of us that want to follow in his footsteps. So if you would please show some love in the chat for Brandon. Just say, hey, Brandon, nice to meet you, or whatever you want to say. If you haven't told us what state you're in, please tell us that. It's so helpful in helping us customize the conversation too. So Brandon, come on up. Tell us a little bit about your journey from mobile notary to fingerprinting boss.
Sure. Thanks everyone for the warm welcome. Thank you, Bill, for allowing me to do this partnership with you to speak to the audience and kind of let them know about the journey of mine and kind of where we're going and what we're doing. And so essentially, like Bill said, back in about 2017, I was on YouTube, trying to figure out something to do. My previous experience was working in the healthcare industry for about 15 years, doing CAT scans and X-rays. And I was looking for something to do on the side, and eventually try to leave my job. And as that was happening, um, I came across Bill and the Notary Coach and the Sign and Drive program, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna give it a try. But I called Bill. He may not remember, but I gave him a call. I was like, hey man, is this real? I could really make some money doing this. And he affirmed me that yes, this is real. You can do that. And so I got started, and I started doing some loan signings, some general notary work and stuff like that here and there. But along the way, Texas had introduced where medical professionals had to get fingerprint background checks. So I went to looked up this little place, went, got fingerprinted from my X-ray license, did it once, didn't think much of it. Then I had to go back. This is Texas, so I got my concealed carry. So I went back, and then at that time, my antennas went off like, hey, why am I only going to this one place? I'm in Houston, Texas. So like, why am I only going to this one place to get fingerprinted, right? And then so I kind of started doing a little research. I was like, hey, I think this might be something I can look into. And so I started researching it. I realized like there were some big players, and then just in between, just like a few mom and pop places. And so I researched a little bit. It's like, okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start doing this. And to get a little bit more market research, I noticed that some of the physicians in my hospital were needing fingerprinting. So what I would do between patients is go fingerprint doctors in the break room, like to test this out, make sure it's done. And doctors, they were doing like locum tenens. I could talk about that like a little bit later and stuff. But essentially, they needed many fingerprint cards, and I was doing traditional ink roll on them, right? So I was like, okay, this is it. I'm launching this, and so I kind of did a shift from notary to fingerprinting, just kind of because of the amount I was able to charge per card, and then my time and stuff like that. And then as I progressed in that, I had an office and, kind of started doing customers in our office and stuff like that, doing mobile as well. And then I was able to get an office in the River Oaks area, which is a fluid area here in Houston. And once I got that office, I was able to see I was around big money at that time. And they had all these corporations around there asking me to go do mobile fingerprint, and they were coming to my office. So I was like, mind shift. All right, I deserve to be this. Now we're going to really expand and grow this, right? And as I was doing that, I realized I had to learn this pretty much on my own. And there's no one else pretty much sharing this information and accurate information. And so I want to be the one to give out accurate information and great information. And so Bill and I tried to look up a little bit a while ago, and we finally able to make it work. And so now we have secure biometrics. So I've started. It's a coaching, consulting, and we're out here to help others get valuable information so that they can operate and scale their business the way I've been able to do it over the last couple of years.
Yeah, beautiful. And I'm so grateful that you are reaching back and shining the light for so many of us. So thank you for that, Brandon. Now, as promised, guys, we're going to kick this off with really starting out on the five biggest misconceptions that not just notary entrepreneurs, but anybody who's looking to start a business has about this, and why it oftentimes stops people in their tracks. They'll hear on Facebook University that it can't be done in their state, or there's too many restrictions. So we're going to tackle each one of those one by one and systematically just tear that apart so you understand that you can absolutely start a fingerprinting business confidently in every single state. So, Brandon, why don't we just kick it off with the first one, which is my state does not allow for this.
Okay, yeah, we could definitely start with that. So, fingerprinting can be done in every single state. You know, it's there are different guidelines or rules the way fingerprinting is performed or is transmitted to the state, but fingerprinting can be done in every single state. I subcontract work out people in pretty much every state across the whole United States, so it can be done. A lot of confusion comes from people that's really not even in the industry; they're not doing the services, and then they're forecasting that onto you, right? Or someone may go to Chat GPT, and an AI has a lot of great information, but it's not always accurate when it comes to this. You want to talk to someone that's actually in the field, that's actually doing this business, and know what they're talking about. So you could be done in every single state. It doesn't matter where you're located. You could be done. If someone says, "Hey, I'm in um, Madison, Wisconsin. It could be done there. Raleigh, North Carolina, it could be done there. It doesn't matter. You can do it every single state. Now, where people kind of get a little bit confused is where, you talk about the open, closed, and hybrid, right? And so that comes in when we talk about RFP states, that's request for proposal. So you'll have states that have, I call them single source providers, but that what we consider a closed state, right? So a closed state would be like a Texas, right, where I'm located at. And so if you say it can't be done, I'm proof it can be done because I'm doing it right now in this particular state. So a closed state means that there is a single source provider where the state has decided that they're going to put an RFP out, right, a bid or a contract out for one particular company to process all of the background checks, right? So for Texas, it's called an Identigo, right? So that means the background checks are processed through them. I can still give customers cards to mail to their car scanning station, but they're going to process the background check. So I can still fingerprint the people. I can still roll the people. But Identigo is doing the background check, right? So that's kind of like a closed state considered. Then you have what is called open states. So open states means that there are multi-source providers that can transmit directly to the state to be able to perform the background check, and the state themselves perform the background check, right? So for instance, a lot of people are familiar with that with like California, with Cal DOJ. Yeah, Florida, that's another popular state. They're like the unicorn state. You have Arkansas, Utah, Nevada, um, um, Illinois, Michigan, just to name a few. They have a couple. Then you have kind of like hybrid states where people just mail in cards to the state, and the state does all the background checks themselves, but people can go either to like the sheriff's office and they'll transmit it for them, or they can go to a private vendor, get cards, and they'll mail those to the people, right? So you would go ahead and do a state like that would be like a North Carolina, a Minnesota, a Kansas, a Utah, North Dakota, South Dakota, the Wyomings, some states like that, Mississippi, just to kind of give you guys kind of some clues. But as you see, I'm naming these different states. Fingerprinting is being done in all of these single states, right? Just to make sure that that's still the main thing that we're gathering from this, that every single state is allowing for fingerprinting and independent fingerprint vendors to submit. It's just the different ways that they're being submitted to the state for the background check to be completed. So I hope that kind of,
Yeah.
in a
Well, and
nutshell.
and in a very fast nutshell, I love how excited you get about this. But I think the real takeaway here is that whether a state is open or closed has nothing to do with whether or not fingerprinting can be done there. It's just how you can transmit that information to the entity or to the state, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So whether open or closed or hybrid, you can do fingerprinting. All
Yes,
right,
indeed.
excellent. So let's look at misconception number two. There's too much competition or oversaturation on this.
Yeah, now the cliche is I'm only in competition with myself. I truly believe that, but no, it's never too much competition. I think it makes things more competitive for you to be able to go and get, the different the business out there that is available to you. So, just to let you know, like it's not that much competition. So a lot of times when you are looking for fingerprinting near me and like all the UPS stores or the package ship stores come up or um, a lab or something like that comes up, really, those are collection sites, right? Those are collection sites of TPAs. A TPA is a third party administrator. I myself have grown my company into being a third party administrator. And what that means is I have different businesses that I work with or different contracts that I have in place with other businesses that I send people not only to my physical locations that I pay rent for, but I have sites that I partner with where we have fingerprint equipment in there, and then I send customers there on my behalf. They fingerprint them, and then I give them a collection rate, right? So these bigger companies, like the Identigo has their own network, but some of the other bigger ones, like a Sterling Identity, like they have the contracts with like the UPS stores. So essentially, and they have other companies that tap into that network and then send customers there. So essentially, what is taking place is UPS is not selling fingerprinting. UPS is a collection site, like how they're a collection site for maybe the USPS and other shipping carriers, right, where they can ship out stuff, and they're getting a percentage. So they're getting between $3 to $9 per person they fingerprint, right, as a collection. And so they're not selling the services, so they're not in competition with you. And the bigger companies, they have like Chase and Wells Fargo and those type of companies. So, they're doing national SEO and working on, national partnerships. They're not doing local SEO. They're not trying to go and just get all the local business. So that's where we have all the room for us to come in and grab that business to be able to fingerprint those customers that need that, right? So that's kind of how it works in that sense. So you can understand that it's really not that much competition out there for you, and that's how I've been able to kind of like say just kind of create my path in this industry. Also, it's year-round demand. You're not worried about interest rates or anything like that. Like people, like this is mandatory. You have to get fingerprint background checks in a lot of different professions, and it's something that's never going away. They're adding more and more professions every year. So, for instance, let me give you the journey of like, for instance, like a nurse, right? So you can understand how just one nurse's journey is. So you can think about, you can multiply this to nurses and doctors and speech pathologists and all these other professions. So a nurse, when they're going to get a going to school, right? So they're going to, as they get into nursing school, they have to have a fingerprint background check. After they graduate nursing school and get their license, they got to get another fingerprint background check, right? Then in a few more years, they have to renew their license and get another fingerprint background check. Then let's say if they're advancing from a regular nurse to a nurse practitioner, they have to get another fingerprint background check. Or if they want to be a nurse, certified nurse anesthetist, or they're going to. So that's the journey of one nurse. And you think about how many it is in the medical profession, and then as you do other industries, it's something that's going to be, a year-round demand for you to do these services. And then if you want to really dive deep into it, you can niche into it. So like my business, I've moved my business to being more of an immigration-based ally, I would say. So I work with a lot of companies that do immigration, so immigration attorneys, right? And so you think about it's usually a whole family, so a mother, a father, and one or two kids. They all need to have a fingerprint background check, and so that's a way to be able to really niche down and expand your business by doing that. And then you have realtors because you already know realtors and stuff like that. And so it's you can really do well in this industry by just doing a few niche down areas and stuff like that.
All right, Brandon, you skipped ahead to all the other misconceptions in that. I
Oh
love
my
that.
gosh, I did. I'm
See,
sorry.
see how he's so excited about this. But
Yeah.
we'll button up this, and we'll touch on some of this stuff again as we go through here. But the reality is, guys, there's so many new business owners or people who explore this and they run into ChatGPT or another notary says you can't do this, or oh, I added it to my website and I haven't got a single call on it. So they just kind of quit on it because there are entire businesses that are just fingerprinting businesses on their own that have nothing to do with notaries, and they are thriving. So when you
Mhm.
add this line of revenue, it requires focus. It requires intentional work every single day to cultivate the relationships and boost your search engine optimization. And most people quit on that. That's why there isn't the level of saturation that a lot of people think. And plus, we all know that right now that we're in this epidemic of unanswered calls in our industry. And fingerprinting is the same thing. People call 10 different people looking for service before they finally get somebody who answers the phone and is willing to help them. So there's lots of opportunity here. So let's look at misconception number 3, which again kind of ties into what you were talking about with the repeat business. But some people think, oh, print cards they're only like $40. I can't make any real money on this. So can you touch on this a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So you definitely make real money with it. For myself, I mean, this is my business. I don't do any other business, right? I'm fingerprinting background screening. Like it's something that's valuable when you look at the when you think about the cost of a fingerprint card, they're between 17 to maybe 20 cents per card. And depending on your area, you can charge between 45 to $75, for some fingerprint cards, right? So it's something where you can make, really good money. And then as you add on just different services. So like if you do the immigration services, right? Like so with the fingerprint cards, if you decide to say I'm gonna niche down and do some immigration services. So I charge $140 per person for that, right? But it's only cost me about 28 bucks to get it done with the FBI on their behalf. So, you're looking at that, that's $112 per person that you're doing. And then, it's multiple people and you're getting the referrals from the different law firms, that's bringing that to you. And then you have, as you start to grow your business, and that's kind of what we're teaching about is like the recurring revenue and the B2B revenue, right? Business to business revenue. So like one of my big clients is Loomis on my car, right? So when I go to Loomis on my car, you know, they're paying top dollar because their executives are not leaving to go get fingerprinted, right? And so they call me several times, every few months, and then other clients as well. They're calling me to go and fingerprint them for these services. And then you have what is called, when I said local tenants earlier. So those are medical doctors that are doing travel medicine. So you have a lot of travel professionals in the medicine field that, as they go to these different states, they have to have multiple cards to practice in those states. So some people may have 20 cards, some may have 50 because they're doing out 50 states, even with telemedicine, right? And so as you're doing that, they're coming back constantly to you to get reprinted. That's extra money like that's coming from them, and then they're gonna tell their other colleagues that are doing the same thing, hey, I went to this one place, they did great. None of my cards got rejected. And so you can, you'll get the repeat revenue from that. And then as you can ask them, hey, what local tenants company are you working with? What travel agency are you working with? So you can get in with them so they can refer more business back to you, right? And so as you do that, your monthly income potential can grow significantly, but it all depends on um, how much you want from this. Do you want a few $100 a month? You want a couple thousand a month? Do you want to really scale it to the level that I've kind of scaled it to? It's kind of totally up to you. But it comes from um, making those relationships and working with different companies so that you can get that returning and recurring revenue. You don't have to be a big company to do that. You can just have one or two immigration firms to kind of see how it is, and then be like, okay, this is good revenue. I really want to expand that.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for reiterating the repeat business under the fingerprinting umbrella is just blows my mind at the potential there.
Hmm.
And the third or the fourth, I'm sorry, the fourth misconception, and this is huge too. And I'd like, because I think there's some question too, just about ink fingerprinting versus electronic fingerprinting and live scan, and whether or not this can be done on the mobile level.
Sure, absolutely. So yes, it could be done mobilely. I actually enjoy doing mobile fingerprinting. The thing about mobile brick and mortar is when you're mobile, you have more freedom and flexibility to go and get to your customer. When you brick and mortar, you're kind of stuck in your office a little bit longer, and so it's like you kind of have to really force and drive people to come to you, uh, to get the services done. And then, but with your mobile, you can at least, while you're out doing mobile appointments, you can still go and market, right? Because that's one of the key things about being able to market with the business, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But with the mobile fingerprinting, you have the freedom and flexibility, and you creating value for the customers, right? So what I consider mobile fingerprinting is uh, white glove concierge services, right? So people tend to take premiums for convenience, right? So like when I go to Loomis, I'm there in and out really quick, about 5 minutes. I go, they set me up. They say, hey, Brandon, this exec is going to be here in about 5 or 10 minutes. You're going to be ready? Yes, cool. I go in, I fingerprint real quick. I'm out. And that's about $500 for about 10 minutes worth of work, right? To fingerprint one person and give them like one or two cards. So it's like you're able to go and do that and have that freedom and flexibility, and you're increasing your value and your rates by that, right? One of the big FBI channelers, he was mobile for 7 years before he even had a brick and mortar office, right? And he built his system to being, I say, becoming an FBI channeler, right? So it's like as you put the as you go and seek the customers that are looking for these services, then you will be success. You'll be able to be successful and get the demand that you're looking for mobile fingerprinting. It's not going after me or you to get fingerprinting because me or you, we're going to try to get the lowest price. I'm talking about businesses. We want to go to businesses when we're offering mobile fingerprinting services because uh, those are the ones that I say are going to value their time over money. And then that's when you're going to get your biggest gains and then grow with your mobile fingerprinting business. So like I was saying, kind of like the premium, I charge $400 to go within 10 miles of where I'm located at, plus services rendered, right? The That's all profit, right? And so you can adjust based on your area and then some of the services you're doing, but that's essentially what it is. And then when you think about the cost of entry for mobile fingerprint, you already got a car, you're already doing mobile services. Uh, you know, ink pads and the supplies are pretty much one loan signing appointment, $100 or less. You can get started and start making your money right away. And then, you can kind of roll that into, okay, do I want to start adding live scan services? Live scan services add to, different things you can do to gain more customers. But ink fingerprint is a great way to get started. Make sure it's something that you like doing. And then, like I say, save up some money and then get the live scan services.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love that you touched on that. And there was a
Mhm.
lot to unpack there, guys. But ink fingerprinting is a great way to start earning income, and you can start out. He even gave you the budget there the start up for the supplies in there is about $150. So great context there. Thank you. And the
Mhm.
misconception number five, again, you've been touching on this throughout this conversation, but they say that it's too hard to find customers. And I'll set this up a little bit too, because I hear a lot of this from people who say, oh, I added fingerprinting last year. Well, what does that mean when you added fingerprinting last year? Literally, they bought an ink pad and some of the paper and added a one line on their Google business profile. So if you just wait for Google Business Profile to do all the work for you, no matter what business you're in, wedding officiant, notary, loan signing, whatever, you're going to be disappointed in most markets. There are lots of these customers that Brandon's talking about. And Brandon, I'll turn it back over to you about what can be done to find them.
Sure, absolutely. So it's not too hard to find customers. You have to be visible for customers to find you, right? So that's what it's all about. You having the proper presence, optimizing your Google My Business profile, having it. So a lot of people, like you said, if you just add it there and it's like a secondary category, then you may get found, you may not in the Google search, right? But I tell people to try to treat this kind of like as a whole separate business to really maximize that. So treating it as a separate business by getting a better Google My Business profile, maybe having at least a one-page website to do that so that you can really be maximized with this. Because if I'm looking for fingerprinting and I pull up a postal ship place or notary or something, like I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for a fingerprinting business, right? So that's kind of the first thing that the client or the customer goes through their mind as they're searching for a company to do this service for them. And then it's like not being properly marketing, right? So you have to get out there and you need to join some professional networks where your services are needed. So we deal in compliance. So if you go to work with compliance company or law firms that deal in compliance, mergers and acquisitions, they're going to have the company or they're going to have the customers, right, that need fingerprinting services, and you're going to be the go-to company that they refer people to because you're starting to build that relationship with them, so that your service can be rendered. So when I say by that is, um, let's say you have like a McDonald's or something like that, and they're expanding in another place and they need fingerprinting. Well, they're going to go to the lawyer. So if you go start straight to the lawyers and market that way, to few to many, so to speak, right? So if you market to the lawyers that got the business already, it's easier for you to get in, right? And then you can join like SHRM, Society of Human Resource Management. That's another one dealing in compliance and HR, right? Because that's all the stuff we're falling under these categories within these companies. And so we need to be able to go and reach out and market them. Joining your chamber of commerce, right? Those are businesses that already have employees that they can send those people to you to get the fingerprinting services performed. Um, also, I still like to go out and do hand-to-hand combat, so to speak, where I go out and still do marketing and hand out flyers and I do mailers and the traditional way of getting out there outside of just cold emailing. So those are some things you could do as well. And then with some other partnerships in the few to many. So I always tell people you can get money back right away by going to working with gun stores, right? So all the people that are doing concealed carry, it varies by state how it's done, but concealed carry, they have to have a fingerprint background check. If they're doing ATF, which is pretty huge right now, so people that are doing silencers and suppressors, short barrel rifles, no matter how you feel about that, those people need to get fingerprint background checks, right? And so you can be the one providing those services for them. So if you partner with some of these gun stores or some of the places that sell suppressors, you can give them. So I have like a referral program where I'll give the gun store owner, a referral for all the people they send me, or I'll give, the customer themselves a discount on the services. Some choose the referral, some choose to give the customer the discount. But that's a way for me to get customers and not have to go and just try to get every single customer because I'm building these relationships, which Bill always talks about is relationships. with these different owners that have the people for me already. So those are just kind of some of the things you can do, like I say, to ensure that you're getting customers with this business. And I mean, that's just business. You can do that with every single business, but as we're talking about fingerprinting, that's a way for you to do that.
Yeah, I wonder, Brandon, if you'd be willing to talk a little bit about the specialty niche with EDOs and immigration too. Can you give us a few minutes on that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So like I say, I'm in Texas, so it's huge here, but I mean it's huge across the United States, no matter what. And I want to say this too, it's not just people coming south of the border; it's people coming from all over that are getting this done from every single country. And in order for them to obtain a visa, they have to get a fingerprint background check, and then when they're at the stage of getting citizenship status, they have to get another fingerprint background check, right? And so what we do with them is, we'll fingerprint them, and then we coordinate it with the FBI to where we get the results back and we send it to them. And they are with the relationships I have with the lawyers, I send it directly to the lawyers. For customers that are one off, I send it back to them, but then I also try to get their lawyers contact information. So I say, hey, I've been working with your clients, and it's something we can do. We can work together. But essentially, that's a good niche to really take advantage of because it's not only people coming here, but it's people leaving the United States too. So if you have people that are traveling abroad for a educational program like schools, right? So a lot of universities they send people abroad for travel. They have to have a fingerprint background check as well. FBI and EDOs is for Electronic Departmental Order. Sorry, let me say that too, Bill. So they probably don't understand
Can
it.
you can you
So
can you say it a little slower for me?
sure, Electronic Departmental Order, right? Or Electronic Department Order, right? And it's like DO 5773 something. So it's a real order that was written as legislation so we can do these services, basically. And so essentially, for those people that may be studying abroad, they need it. People that are becoming expats, they need it, right? And that's a whole nother niche too within this with immigration and expats. So even they have like expat groups on Facebook, and they're always trying to figure out how to get a fingerprint background check from out the country without having to fly back. You can coordinate this process for them and charge them premiums because the premium you charge them is way less than them having to take off from where they're at, fly to the United States, get fingerprinted here, wait for the process, and then fly back. Right. So you're able to do that um, within this whole immigration EDO process that I speak of, and that Bill is asking me to kind of talk upon a little bit more.
Yeah, so glad you dove into that a little bit more too, because that's opportunity happening all the time, all year round.
Yes.
Guys,
Oh,
keep
let me
those.
say this too. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
So one
please.
thing too, when you're talking about partnerships, our partnership with visa companies, companies that work with that help people get their visas and their passports and stuff like that. I do this for them too, right? So like they already have tons of customers, right? So outside of immigration attorneys, right, and people doing it on that side, you have people that are you can Google, travel agency or visa, help me with my visa. So many companies pop up. You can be their fingerprint vendor for all of their customers that need this done as they're, doing stuff for the United States or they're, going to other countries. So that's another like little gem of like, partnerships that I have in place with companies that help me not have to go get as many customers because I'm just going after the ones that got them. They're already going to get all the many of them, right? And they're just telling them that to have come to me to get the fingerprinting done.
Yeah, I love that. And I want you to address one question before we move on. But Linda
Sure.
asks, what are the qualifications to be able to do this business? And are you restricted to the state you reside to perform this service? Can you touch on that and share some of your experience and cool stories with that?
Sure, sure, absolutely. So, thank you. I meant to say that earlier, and thank you for bringing that up. So, fingerprinting can be done in every state as long as you are can legally, have a business in your state, and all the people on the call are legally operating a business in their state. So you can do that. The only state that you have to have a certification to do fingerprinting is California, and that's a fingerprint roller certification, right? It's essentially just a background check, and that's so you can do ink fingerprinting. Live scan is a whole nother process to connect to the state and stuff like that. But just to do traditional ink fingerprinting in California, that's the only state that requires certification or fingerprint roller certification to do that. Every other single state, you can offer fingerprinting as long as you're able to operate a business. If you're going to do it as a sole prop or LLC or however you want to do your structure, but you can do this in every single state. When it comes to live scan, there's some different uh, uh, things you have to have in place with connecting to the state, like paperwork, static IP. Illinois has this one class you take. All the other states, Illinois and Ohio have a class, but that's dealing with live scan that you have to take. But if you just want to do ink, you can do it in every single state, no problem, and you're good to go. So you got to start a fingerprint business everywhere.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, sir.
Guys, you have some amazing questions inside of the chat, so keep those coming. I promise that we are going to get to those for sure. But now that you know that no matter what state you're in, a fingerprinting business is a viable solution and service for your business, whether you're adding on or whether you're just looking to start a brand new business. You also know that there is plenty of volume around you and there's a lot
Oh,
less competition than you think. You got something, Brandon?
sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I just seen this populate, and I forgot to touch on being able to fingerprint in multiple states.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
you can go fingerprint anywhere you want to be. You can fingerprint somebody anywhere, in any single state. It all depends. Live scan is when it comes into play about being able to transmit the record from that state back to another state. You generally cannot do that. That's kind of a thing with live scan. But ink fingerprint, you go anywhere. Live scan, you can fingerprint them anywhere. You just would have to wait till you get back to your state to transmit the record, so to speak, right? If you were going to do that. But I've even flown to Mexico. The last 2 years, I've flown to Mexico to fingerprint people, right? That's two different helicopter companies. They fly me there every year. So I'm hoping to go back this year. It all depends on how many people they are onboarding, how many pilots they're going to onboard this year. But essentially, you can do that. I took my live scan system there and fingerprinted them in Mexico, and that was something where, with people like, oh, you're going to Mexico, like it's dangerous out there and stuff. But it's like, hey, man, I had a vision for my business of growing not only nationally but internationally, and you can't let other people kind of hold you back, like I say, from what their fears are, because you're going to chase your dreams or whatever's on your vision. You have to be able to take the steps forward, and when the opportunity comes, take action upon those. And so, you can do this anywhere. You can bring your fingerprint equipment anywhere. Like I said, it's just about transmitting the records and stuff like that when it comes to the live scan. So my bad. I wanted to touch on that. I have forgot, but somebody put it back
Yeah.
in the chat. So I wanted to come back to that. Thank you, Bill.
I'm so glad that you did that too, because I wanted to hear that. I love that helicopter story, and I love not having geographical boundaries limit us. So the idea of flying to another country to deliver fingerprinting or another state, even you had also shared with me one of your students connected with a national cannabis company, and
Oh
they
yes,
fly
yes,
him
yes,
around and he handles their
yes, yes,
fingerprinting for their
yes,
employees
yes,
too.
yes. Yes, yes, he does that. So it's a pharmaceutical company, and so Josh Glasscock, he's based out of
Yeah.
Austin. Yeah, so Josh, he was very fortunate when he first got started. He did a great job on a mobile appointment with a pharmaceutical company. They liked him so much that they fly him across the United States to fingerprint all their pharmacists, right? So he's been to 47 states in the last 3 years, fingerprinting
Wow.
pharmacists across the United States, right? So it's so many things like this that take place that people don't know that's out
Yeah.
there and available. But as long as you provide value, great service, minimal rejections, right? That's the key thing, minimal rejections, and that's why we want to have you properly trained and go the extra mile for your customer so that their stuff gets accepted on the first try, and then they're going to continue to use you. So by him doing those few things, boom, he does that, and he flies around like every other month. He flies somewhere.
That's just incredible.
Yeah.
Things we don't even think about. Guys, that's why I'm so excited to present this to you because it's so under the radar. And somebody used the word unsexy in the chat, and I love that. I've been using that in the emails and the blogs too because it's just not one of those really glamorous types of opportunities here. But what makes it glamorous is the opportunity and the potential for this. So I love it. So if it's all right with you, I'm going to show you the exact system and flow that Brandon has created, how he shares all of this. You can tell he's very transparent. He loves opening up the book and showing you how this business works. And he's going to, this is the system that's helped him earn over $2.5 million just over the last 4 years alone. So, excuse me. Brandon has really taken all of his experience in building this multi-location fingerprinting empire, as well as being a coach and a trainer for other fingerprint business owners across the country. And he's created a very special bundle of courses that's exclusively for friends of Notary Coach. And we're calling this the Business Launch Bundle. And these 6 courses that are going to be that are included in here will genuinely help you take this thing to whatever level you want to. A fingerprinting boss, building an empire, if you just want a few $100s a month in revenue, this is essentially how you do it. And as Brandon and I were building out this project a couple months ago, we were talking about how important it is for the notary community to get exactly what they need without a bunch of fluff and teasing and BS, because it's so hard to find high quality training for rolling finger, not only the rolling part, like the practical part. How do you do this without getting cards rejected? But also on the business development side. So I asked him, I was like, can we just give them everything? So we created this complete training system for notary entrepreneurs who want fast and reliable revenue that is going to thrive no matter what the housing market or interest rates are doing. And Brandon usually sells all of these courses completely separate. So again, I made a huge ask for him here. So I asked him to include everything. And Brandon is as committed to your success as I am. So we did it. We put together every single highly rated course that Brandon offers, all 6 of them. So you have everything that you need to succeed. So you cut your learning curve more than anywhere else. So let me show you exactly what's inside. The first course is Mastering Ink Fingerprinting. So we start out with a very highly detailed fingerprinting course, because this is how you can get started right away in any state, the ink fingerprinting. And this is going to last forever. This usually is priced at $499, and it teaches you how to roll perfect prints on both federal and state cards. You're going to learn the pitfalls to avoid smudges, alignment problems, and some of the technical errors that lead to rejections, because that is very real. It's a very real part of the gig. So you got to learn how to do it correctly. Then he's also going to show you how to set up your workspace and your workflows. Then you'll have the details to know exactly how to fingerprint minors, because it's different when you're doing kids. Seniors, it's different when you're doing seniors, and their fingerprints aren't quite as obvious as they used to be. And then you'll also get to know how to handle clients that have unique situations or physical characteristics. Maybe they're missing fingers or an appendage. So that course alone is going to tell you how to turn that skill into revenue very, very quickly. But if you've been following me a while, you know how important I believe it is to specialize, not just to be a generalist, but to specialize. So we put in the second course for you, and Brandon talked a little bit about these, the EDOs, electronic departmental orders, which are FBI background checks for non-US citizens. They don't require any special equipment. There's no high technical learning curve or anything like that. It's just a in-demand year-round revenue source. And you get the whole course on how to tap into this specialty first to start making some money right away. And we'll teach you exactly how to do it. Brandon normally sells this course alone for $399. So just right there, we're going to teach you how to roll ink fingerprints. Then we're going to give you a specialty that you can tap into with year-round revenue potential. And then, of course, you're probably thinking, okay, yeah, that's great, but how do I get more customers? And that's why I asked Brandon to include his Marketing That Makes Money course. And it's not some fluffy general marketing class. It's highly detailed. And he's very serious by naming it Marketing That Actually Makes You Money, because you'll learn how to get clients fast and keep your calendar full not just by boosting your online visibility, right? It's not just about Google Business Profile on the website. We know that's important, but he's also going to show you how to position yourself as the go-to professional fingerprinting provider through with repeat customers through those partnerships he keeps talking about with law firms, human resource departments, other employment type agencies and corporations and industries that use fingerprinting on a regular basis. So just right there, those three courses, you have exactly what you need to learn the technical skill on how to do this, a specialty niche that you can focus on, and then the marketing training you can do to grow it and to scale it. And if we stopped right there with just those three courses alone, you could still be up and earning money by the end of this week. But of course, we didn't want to stop. We didn't want it to be teased out. I don't want you to get a bunch of upsell emails in your inbox after you buy the first three courses. So I wanted to create a bundle and a tool and an actual resource where you literally have every single thing you need, not only to start, not only to learn how to do it, not only to learn how to find customers, but to scale this thing to maximum potential. And that's why we added three more courses to this. So for those that didn't know, there's a whole sub niche of opportunity here with apostees, international documents, and translation services when you're talking about FBI background checks. And there's a lot of those are a lot of the reasons that people need fingerprinting in the first place, obviously. So Brandon created an entire course that focuses on international document authentications and specifically how that service ties right into fingerprinting as well as translation services. So if you want to talk about ways that you can boost the average appointment revenue, so you move beyond just a travel fee and the fingerprint roll fee or the convenience fee, this course is exactly how you do that. And again, Brandon usually charges $399 just for this course alone. And this has huge potential. The revenue, the opportunity here is so great that many people just end up converting, just like Brandon did, to a fingerprinting business alone. And so we were thinking that if that's the case, or if somebody listening is brand new to any business in the first place, you might need some help actually setting up your business. So we built out an entire course that will help you do exactly that. And that's why we're including the Business Builder course that is normally sold for $499. And this is where you can get some professional guidance on how to choose a strategic business name. If you're looking to set up an LLC or an entity, you'll have some suggestions for that. How to set up your professional email, business bank accounts, credit card processing, the online booking calendars, branding considerations, logos, all that kind of business building stuff. And then you'll also see exactly what kind of supplies you're going to need to start out your fingerprinting business and where to get them. So yes, Linda, you absolutely need a little bit of equipment. Brandon touched on this a little bit earlier. Ink fingerprinting, very easy, inexpensive to start, less than $150. When you go electronic through LifeScan, that increases significantly, but he's got a plan for that. Because when you're ready to scale this thing to maximum potential, after you've started earning some revenue, building your empire, doing your ink fingerprinting, you're probably going to naturally want to scale to electronic or LifeScan fingerprinting. So rather than have to buy that course later and figure things out, we're including elevating your business with LifeScan fingerprinting. And this will walk you through exactly how to choose the right equipment for you. Brandon's company, Secure Biometrics, is a licensed vendor for that equipment, so he's got resources for you. But you'll also learn how to navigate the state system that you're in, how to offer some of the top tier federally regulated services, like if you want to get into alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, if you want to get into those weapons background checks that Brandon touched on earlier, all of that's going to be included in there. So you get this detailed boots on the ground advice on how to run a live scan operation in your state, how to verify the IDs, how to prepare the clients ahead of time, and of course, the technical skill too, like how to produce high quality prints so you avoid the rejections. but it'll also tell you how to troubleshoot those errors and handle rejections if you do get them. They're inevitable, especially in the beginning. And then one of the biggest questions we get is how to price your live scan service. How can you make it profitable? So Brandon and his team have that all built in there too. And all of it's covered. Normally, this course alone is $499. So if you had to buy all of these separately, it gets pretty pricey. You know, if you bought the mastering ink fingerprinting, the EDOs unlocked, the marketing that makes money, the apostille and translations course, the business builder course, and the live scan printing course, it's almost $2,800 for all six of those if you buy them separately. And I saw that question in the chat. You can absolutely buy those separately. The price is right there on the screen for you. That can be done. If you were to buy all of these together, though, it'd be about $2,800. And still, even at full price, you'd have a return on your investment pretty fast because there's so much opportunity here. But that return on investment comes 3 times faster at a price like this. So we're offering nearly 70% off today. You save $1,949 if you buy this bundle today or before this coming Saturday, March 14th. That's it. So that makes it a one-time fee of $849. And yes, there are payments available through companies like Affirm, Afterpay. They're all on the link in the chat there for you. Or you can go to
So can
Secure
I say
by.
something?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
please.
Sorry. So I want to let everyone know too that with the courses and everything, it's everything that I've learned over the years. So it's pretty much kind of leapfrogging you within this industry from not having to take some of the pitfalls that I've took over the years. And the information that's in there and the resources. So I have a lot of documents within the courses that you can like download and make your own. Those documents came from me training my own staff to man my offices, as well as the my partner collection sites, right? That I had to train their staff on how to properly fingerprint people and different cheat sheets and all that stuff. So you're getting all of that stuff. Pretty much, you're getting my whole business. I'm relinquishing to you, essentially, and that's not something that you're going to get from anyone, especially anyone that's successful. You may have people out there talking about this stuff, but they're not sharing the actual information of their operations of their company. And so I'm sharing that with you all so that you can, like I say, be successful. And it's my way of kind of being able to give back just because my time is kind of limited, but this is a way to do that and then be able to, see your success within this as well. And I want you all to see that, it's a valuable business. You can really do well. And something that's pretty cool, Bill, that we do offer is we have our own conference. So Secure Biometrics has created its own conference. This year will be our third annual conference. The first one was in Nashville, Tennessee. The second one was in Pensacola, Florida. This year, I'm excited to announce this, Bill, that is going to be in Houston this year. Kind of back to the basics, back where it all started. Welcome to Texas, down south, this kind of home feeling and welcoming. And it's kind of central this year because we've kind of been east and people have been asking us to kind of bring it a little bit more centrally too. So Houston is a great place, a great international city where people can come, and it's going to be Labor Day weekend. Got some good things in store for people with the information that's going to be shared. And, it's something that can really grow. We've had different speakers come in along with myself presenting some of the different live scan vendors and people that are talking about financial planning and stuff like that for your business. So the growth of an entrepreneur from just being, yourself into an actual full business. And so I just wanted to share that that's something else that comes with this. It's not just, oh, you get the course and you're done. Like you could reach out to me anytime. You could call me, you could text me, you can email me, info@securebiometrics.net. And my team will be able to assist you with, any questions that you all may have.
Yeah, that's so great. I'm so looking forward to that event too. So,
Sure.
uh, just lost my train of thought on there. And so, yes, Patricia, we'll get you that information as well. As soon as there's a registration form, we'll, of course, be sending that out. Guys, once you make your purchase, once you buy this business launch bundle, all six of these courses are automatically loaded into your library at securebiometrics.co.co. all at one time. So all courses are completely on demand. You can take your time, you can revisit and go back, watch again, hit pause, practice, whatever you want to do as many times as you want. There's no tests and there's no certifications in here. This is just down to the nitty gritty training on exactly how to build a fingerprinting business from the ground up. And what Brandon just described to you is all the downloads, all the training materials. This is essentially his standard operating procedures for his entire business that he's opening up for you. So you cut through all the learning curves that he had to go through and start getting results a lot faster. It's everything you need to scale into an empire, if that's what you want to build, or a very solid income and revenue stream for you. First, you learn how to master ink fingerprinting, how to roll the fingerprints. Then you learn the specific niche so you can start tapping into it right now. You'll know exactly who your ideal customers are. Start going right for that. Start earning that revenue. And then you can start scaling through the rest of the marketing course that's offered, and you can weave in apostilles, translations, and then scale and grow further through the business builder. And of course, if you decide to go electronic, the live scan fingerprinting course is already there for you. And all of it's in there for you for $849 through this Saturday, guys. That's it. It gets closed on Saturday, March 14th at midnight. And of course, we know this is a big investment right now. But this is what it would take to make 2026 what you want to be if this appeals to you. But because we know it's a big investment, we're also offering the 7-day money back guarantee. So if you go through this training and it's not what we're promising you, if it doesn't show you exactly how to start offering fingerprinting services with confidence, all you have to do is let Brandon and his team know within 7 days and you get a full 100% refund. So there's no risk in getting started. The only risk is just not starting at all, not just letting it sit there. Oh yeah, one day I'm going to do this. But even though we offer the money back guarantee, because we know that's important and we'd like to stand behind what we're offering here, if for some reason on the off chance it's not everything you want it to be, we already know this delivers on its promise. Brandon's been doing this for years. And here's what a few of his students have to say. Felicia said, I had no idea where to start. The way Brandon explains the process gave me the confidence to set up my first appointment within a week. And then Susan said she thought this was going to be really complicated, but the way Brandon breaks it down was super clear. And then Bill said, this gave me the structure I needed, the supplies, workflow, compliance, launch faster than I expected. Guys, if they can do it, you can do it. Fingerprinting is one of the most lucrative specialties under the Notary umbrella and not even associated with the Notary umbrella. And if you want to boost your revenue in 2026, this is an opportunity you've got to seriously look at. And you're never going to find this much training and this much access and this much value for less than $900. So it's 70% off, a savings of almost $2,000. So this is your chance to kick your quarter two off in a different way. If you want different results, you've got to do different things. So if you decide to jump in on this bundle for notary entrepreneurs and friends of Notary Coach, tell us in the chat as we start this Q&A. Let us welcome you live right here on the call, and you can start asking questions as well. We've got some great questions in there, guys. I promise we're going to spend some time on Q&A here. But just to confirm, this price, this savings, this special business bundle with 6 courses valued at almost $2,800 is about 70% off until this Saturday, March 14th at midnight. And then that's it. All right, Brandon, are you ready for Q&A? We got some great questions in there.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So let's see. Dun, dun. There was, okay, so Ina asked, can I purchase this program and share it with 2 of my colleagues so they can train, we can all train together?
That's a great question. That's kind of generally wanted for your business. Um, that's kind of like what would you say? Um,
How about we say this? I know, why don't you reach out to Brandon privately via
yeah.
email? Brandon, can you put your email in the chat?
Sure. Yeah.
Because I think Patricia's looking for that too.
Yeah. That's
Great question. All right. And then I saw a few in here. Hmm. Okay. Brandon, you ready?
yeah.
If I can only afford to offer ink fingerprinting right now,
Mhm.
is it still a profitable service in today's market? Can a business remain competitive when others are offering electronic fingerprinting? Also, are individuals or companies likely to turn you down if you only provide ink fingerprinting instead of electronic services? Great question.
Yeah, great question. No, so yeah, ink fingerprint is still very valuable in today's time. So you'll have a lot of customers that come in and they'll say, "I want traditional ink and roll fingerprinting," right? Like they're adamant about it, and so that's why I charge them more for it. So live scan fingerprinting is a method of capture. So everyone that's doing live scan fingerprinting, some of them can print cards, some of them cannot print cards. Some of them are submitting to federal agencies, some are submitting to the state. So it all kind of depends what state they're in and how they're doing that. But you can definitely, and it's all profit when you think about it, because I mean, essentially after you buy your initial supplies, 150 bucks or less. Let's say you do your first customer for 150 if you're doing mobile for them, right? So that pays for itself after the first appointment. And then after that, you charging between 45 to $75 for your cards plus mobile. Even shoot, if you're in California, you can charge 100 bucks. I subcontracted some work in California. The guy wanted to charge me 100 bucks per card, right? So because no one in California is always talking about live scan, but I need traditional ink and roll cards, right? So you can do this, and it's very valuable. And like I say, I charge more. And most people, you can tell me to do live scan, but like, no, they said it had to be ink. I don't argue with people, so I let them upsell themselves to give me more money for the ink cards, right? Because it doesn't matter if it's ink from a printer or ink from a pad, it's still ink on the card. It's the ink card that matters the most. But I don't argue with my customers. I'm in the business of making money, so I charge them more for it, and they do the service. So yeah, no, it's very valuable. You can make money with it, and it won't be an issue. The thing is, ensuring that you are properly rolling their prints and that the quality of the print is passable. That's the most important thing about offering ink fingerprinting. So it takes a lot of practice. It looks easy, but it is a little bit more to it than what the eye appears, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I mean, I remember when we were about to start our fingerprinting business, we literally had fingerprinting rolling parties and just practice. In fact,
Yeah.
I bought an entire stack of cards just for practice.
Hmm.
So you do it until
Oh,
you get comfortable with it because
yeah.
when you know somebody, it's fun and you can laugh your way through it. But when you've got that pressure of a customer there, you want it to be almost natural at that point.
Yeah.
And the more
And
you
let me say
practice,
this
the better
too.
you
Oh,
get. Yeah, go for it.
I'll say this because you said, you bought a pack of cards. So I'll tell you this. Cards are your money. So I talk about this in the course. Make copies of the cards. Don't actually roll yourself on the cards. That's your money. Make a copy of the card and practice on those. And then when you're confident, then you have the cards that where you're going to make the money and charge the customer. So I just want to
That
throw
would have
that.
that would have been so much cheaper.
Yeah.
And not that the cards are that expensive anyway,
Yeah,
but
they're
that's
not.
that's
Yeah.
good piece of advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. And I just want to reiterate too, because Kate asked a really great question here, but almost everything that we're talking about here, guys, is about starting with ink fingerprinting. That's the
Yeah.
whole methodology that Brandon teaches. Start with ink. Start building your business, start making some money, start banking some of that revenue and profit. And when you're ready, you invest in a higher uh, quality or the electronic machine, the live scan device. Because by
And
then
then
you
truth.
have the evidence. It's working. People need the services. They're making money doing it. So
Right.
you can get more efficient with these live scan devices. And Brandon just said something really interesting, right? You can still print paper cards from your electronic device, from your live scan device. So whether it's rolled or ink from a printer, it still works that way. So lots of opportunity there.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I was going to say something else too about that bill that man, it just kind of, I lost thought. Sorry. Hope they come
Well,
back to me.
interrupt me when it comes back to you. I know it will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See.
Okay, let's see what Tammy's. Can we take any of these courses separately without buying the whole thing? Tammy, I touched on that a little bit. You are welcome to buy any course you'd like separately. There's no discount for those. They are the full listed price that we talked about. The discount comes when you bundle them all together. Let's see. Tammy's there. How do
And
we?
hey, Tammy, I know Tammy from years ago.
Oh, Tammy Murley from Arizona or Tammy Stevens?
Tammy
You got
Stevens. Yeah,
two.
yeah, okay, Tammy Stevens. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Tammy's done some work for me in the past too. We subcontracted some work together and stuff like that. She's out of South Charleston, South Carolina.
All right.
Yeah.
And she also asked, how do we learn about companies and contracts that are looking for fingerprinting? I'll touch on this a little bit too, guys, because that's part of the marketing course too. And using AI now, just even something as simple as ChatGPT, using the right prompt can really help you identify potential prospects, right? You won't know until you reach out and you contact them and find out what their system and their flow is. But all of that is more available than you even realize. And part of our partnership here is I built out some daily dues for fingerprinting operators. So these are just daily marketing tasks that you can do, and I provide the prompts for those. So really powerful that way. Anything else that you would say on that, Brandon?
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's just you have your main big industries. I think I have it too as like a freebie on the website um, of different industries. But you have your medical professionals, your engineering firms, oil and gas companies. So another thing, oil and gas companies, they send a lot. So those are great upsells if you work with oil and gas companies, or they have companies that deal in like chemical plants and stuff like that, and they're global companies. So a lot of times they're sending workers overseas, right? And so as they go overseas, guess what they need? An FBI background check and a apostille, and possibly a translation. Right. So, that's another one people don't really think about, where you can kind of reach down to and start marketing to those particular firms to get those services done. But then, you also have your, of course, realtors. Of course, you have construction companies. So a cool thing about construction companies, the ones specifically that deal in demolition. So construction companies that deal in demolition, that's an ATF service, right? So they need to have the ATF background check. So that's kind of the one that are you can kind of
Hello.
look into and things like that. So,
Hi,
that.
Valerie. I'm
This
gonna mute
is.
you.
Hey, Valerie, it's Jen. You called back from
Oh,
Old Republic title about that closing. We
okay. Sorry about that.
That's cool. Sound like you're making some money. That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
it
Get
sounds
that
like it.
money. You got to close it. But there's just so many different ones that need it, and you can start off. So like I always say, to start off niche first, right? Try to start in one industry first. We because we can fingerprint a lot of people, but just start off one. Start with immigration attorneys because it's hot, it's big. You can make a lot of money from it, and they have attorneys that just have one single attorney up to tens or twenties of attorneys, right? And start letting them know that you can be their ally in the immigration process for their customers. So I always tell people start first with gun stores and immigration, but you can choose one of those two to start off right away and just start marketing to them. You don't need to cast a big net and try to, I'm gonna try to here, do this. If you
Yeah.
want to make money right away, and because you're making over $100 per person, see, I'm teaching you how to go get the money. I'm not. People say, oh, this person charges $20. Let them charge $20. That's not worth my time. I'm talking about going and get money so that your business can be successful. This is not you. This is not me, Brandon, doing this. This is BioScan USA. That's my services side, guys. So Secure Biometrics is my coach consultant, but my BioScan USA, because we've grown so much, we've had to change our name. We're going through a rebranding process. That's where the money comes from. You know, you doing it as your business. If you're doing mobile, you got your car expenses, you got gas, you got business insurance, you got so many different things that line up in the business where you need to charge more. Don't go like this is something we want to regard as a concierge service, right? And highly services. We don't have that many fingerprinting businesses out there. Like I said earlier, because pretty much use UPS stores. They're not selling it. So there are not that many out there. So we want to hold this in regard, and we want to make sure that we're keeping a standard so that the pay is always going to be premium, and they look at it as a premium service.
Yeah.
So
I think that's such a valuable look at it because there's always going to be budget shoppers, right? But you don't teach people to go for the budget shoppers. You're
no,
teaching people who value their time over their money. You know,
right.
they can run a UPS store, they can pay their minimum fee, whatever that might be. But if they don't want to waste their time standing in line and driving across town or whatever that might be, and there's so many of those types of customers. If you just look at, like you touched on executives, I think that's huge. But when you look at how busy doctors and nurses are, some of them are working 12-hour shifts, 3 to 5 of them back to back. They're 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. They don't want to be spending their off time standing in line at a UPS store, right? They're going to value and pay whatever it takes for you to meet them at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the hospital or at their home or wherever it might be. There's plenty of those types of customers out there.
Yeah, and then think about this too. You think about the emergent or the how much Uber Eats, DoorDash, and all
Yeah.
these have like one, they already charge you more for the food on the on the site. Then they charge you a service fee, plus they charge you delivery. Like people are already paying extra for regular services, right? So you just have to think about that for this business as well. They're already paying extra for to get food delivered to them. And
Yeah.
then now they've go to where you pay a subscription. Like what? So it's like, think of it from that perspective of what we're doing with this business.
Yeah. This is the convenience economy.
Yeah.
All right, there's another question here too that kind of blends into this, but I know California specifically, lots of agents have questions and concerns. And Amber says this, I'm in California. I do have my fingerprint rolling certification. I want to offer ink cards. Who would want ink versus live scan? Live scan seems to dominate in California or this area.
Right. So as you marketing those services that you offer ink fingerprinting, and it's the easiest one to offer because um, people are looking for it, and many companies are not offering it. Like I say, I call when I have like some companies that I do nationwide stuff for, so I sub out work. When I'm calling people in California, honestly, it's kind of a pain because most people don't offer ink fingerprinting that are doing live scan. Like I say, the one or two companies I find they charge $100 or $75 per card, right? And then he doesn't want to go do mobile. I'm like, I don't care. My client is going to pay for it. Like, it's like, nah, I wouldn't want to charge you that much money. Are you in the business of making money? Or are you just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about? I don't care what the fee is. I just need to go to my client and pay this amount. And two, in California, like I know traffic is a thing, but like I call people and they're like, I can do ink. Like I had one company, he did ink for me. I call him to come back and do another job. Oh, I don't go that far. I'm like, dude, it's like 20 miles or 25 miles. He's like, yeah, well, because of traffic and all this. Like, say your price, like to go get it done. Like, trust me, it's very valuable out there because many people that's doing it are turning it down, right? But if you can do it and specialize in it and you market to companies and let them know that you can do traditional ink fingerprinting, especially so any company that's doing any person or any company that's doing something in another state, they have to physically mail cards to that state. The only unicorn is Florida. Florida is the only state where you can be, and that's why we always talk about FDLE or Florida, right? You can be outside the state and electronically submit those prints to the state, right? Every other state, they're mailing cards. Now you have two big players that operate in the gray area, Identigo and Fieldprint. They're so big, they can do that. They have state contracts in certain places, so they may capture their prints in a California and then put it on their server in that other state and then transmit it. They're not supposed to do that. But, big guys get to make the rules in their sense. But for you, anyone, so um, even you can do the immigration, right? Immigration is like the live scan, that's going to Cal DOJ, most of those people, but immigration, the EDOs, that's federal, right? So you focusing on federal services and EDOs. That's you can do off the card. You don't need to have the live scan to do that because of the way that the method works, right?
Yeah.
And then let's say the medical professionals, and then any other companies that are, applying for licensure or expanding into other states, stuff like that.
So that's huge. So it sounds like if you're going to do only ink fingerprinting in a state where a lot of people are focusing on live scan, then you just own the place where you're at, right? And just reach out because there's still tons of opportunity for the ink side of things. And this is every state, guys, but California gives a lot of pushback because they're so reliant on live scan. But there's an opportunity for ink everywhere. You just got to
And then
own
I
it.
would grow that too into the live scan though. You just want to, I would grow that into live scan too, right? I
Yeah.
would roll that up to that,
Yeah.
but it takes about 6 months to a year to even get approved for live scan. So you can be doing your ink, a whole year until you get fully approved with the whole live scan. And then in California, they're so in your business so much too that they're auditing you all the time. Like I have a buddy, Jason, he has like 6 locations out there. They're always in your business auditing you, and they regulate how many more systems you can buy that are live scanned too in California. So
Interesting. All right. Great questions, guys. Now, Margot, I noticed that you unmuted. Do you have a question?
I put it in the chat.
Oh, I have to scroll too far. You want to just tell us what it is?
Yeah, my question was about the scanners and live scans. So he kind of answered that, yes.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Awesome.
right.
Thank you.
Ms. Margo.
And then I see the go-to notary. If you'd like to unmute, go ahead. Come on up. What's your question?
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I can't turn my camera on because I'm driving, so I apologize.
No worries.
Please be careful.
Yes. So, Brandon, I did email you. You did respond back to me. So, if you could, I'd like to do a one-on-one consultation with you when you can, because I currently have an office. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. So, I have an office. I'm already doing live scan. I also offer ink fingerprinting. And my question directly is to how to partner with Field Print because they dominate in my area. I've actually already reached out to them and did get a response back. And they told me to fill out the application. So if you could give any pointers as to how to some of the bigger players, how we can position ourselves to partner with them without relinquishing our equipment and without looking as a competitor. Because I started my business during COVID, then COVID hit, and it was a sham, didn't make any money. And so things are still slow and I'm wanting to scale. So I don't want to be too long-winded, but that's my question. Identigo, I know it's pretty locked in box, but that's what I want to discuss with you more on how to even tap into the Texas market. So if you could touch on a few of those things, I'd appreciate it. Thank you,
What's your
Bill.
name?
You're
What's your
awesome,
name?
Bill.
Thank you.
I'm Latasha. I've been with you a long time. I've been following you at this. I'm a nurse too, by the way. So everybody, they're right. And I was a travel nurse. I had to get ink fingerprinted all the time. So we need the service. But yes, my name is Latasha Pratt, the go-to notary, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Thank you, Latasha. I'm going to turn it over to Brandon so he can touch on that. And Brandon, when you do so, because I've already seen the question about the state lock-ins, the single source or the single resource provider or single source provider. So maybe we can talk about how that works again and the workarounds as well as well.
Sure.
Latasha.
Absolutely. Okay, so Latasha, so I will have my admin reach back out to you so we can schedule the one-on-one. For partnering with the Identigos and the field prints, right? So, okay, field print, they are the least restrictive. Identigo, you have to have their equipment in a whole nother room and all that stuff, but you asked about field print, so let's talk about field print. Essentially, to sign up with field print, you just fill out the application, and then if there's a need in your area, they're going to look and see if they have any location in your area. If they're not saturated with their own partner collection sites, then they're going to approve your site. Essentially, it's got to make sure that it meets their qualifications. Now, the thing about field print is that you can have your own equipment. You can actually piggyback some of their customers because they don't give customers cards. So you can I'm not telling you to do this, but if they get customers asking for fingerprint cards and field print don't give them, you can do it on your side. I didn't say that. Quotations makes everything, In quotation, you can do that and you can get those customers because they don't offer cards. But this is what you have to ask yourself. I don't know if you have any staff or not. If you have staff in there, maybe it makes sense. But I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna pay you between $3 to $9 per person. If you're making 35, 40, $100 per person, and then now they're gonna give you some volume to pay you $3, you have to see what is your time worth and what can you do spending your time gaining more of your own customers, right? That's something you have to think about because for me in my time, and no knock to anybody that does it, but me personally as the business owner, I'm not fingerprinting nobody for $3. I'm not doing it. But I focus on getting my customers. I can do more of my customers and less of theirs and make the money that I'm looking for. Because I'm pretty sure you have not tapped into Cincinnati the way you really need to be able to uh, have your business scale the way you want it. And that's just kind of looking at some things you're doing, some things you've been doing, and then trying to just kind of changing the methodology or whatever to get those customers. But continue the process with them. You can see how it is, see if you like it or not, and that's your thing. But just know that's what you're gonna get. They're gonna give you more people, but you're doing it for like a fraction of the cost that you charge, of the profits that you're making from your own customers. And so that's why I don't do it too, because you have to have your certain hours that you're there, constantly. Like I'm on the go. Like I have my office, but it's like I get a mobile appointment. I'm out. Like I'm not just stuck here. Like that's my freedom of being the owner. With them, you work for them basically. Like my partner collection sites, they work for me. Like you need to have this amount of hours availability of people that can fingerprint when I'm sending customers there. My own personal office that I'm in, or that my staff man, like I might send them out to go do something. Like so, you have to you fall under a lot of more regular restrictions when you start to partner with the larger companies. But if it makes sense for you and your business, do it. I just want you to be aware of that's how it works. And they're gonna give you like a 20-page, 20, 30-page contract, non-compete, all this other stuff. Read it. If also I think if you return the equipment in a short notice, you got to pay them like $1,500 and pay for shipping. So just read everything, make sure it's for you, and then go from there.
I think Brandon, Kathy nailed it because this is exactly as I popped in. It's almost like Identigo and Fieldprint is a signing service, a national signing service that takes a huge portion of the revenue stream and pays you kind of what's left.
That's
And
a
that's
great
really
analogy.
if it feels attractive, right? Because you're like, oh, they're going to give me leads. But as Brandon just talked about, it's like if you're making $3 per appointment, anything you say yes to, every $3 walk-in that walks in the door, you're saying no to something else. You're not able to leave the office and pick up those 40 to 100 or $112 mobile appointments that Brandon was talking about. So look how many $3 appointments you have to have just to make up what you could make in one appointment if you just apply the daily marketing plan, the prospecting, cultivating these relationships. And one of the things that I think, Brandon, people still have a hard time understanding is when they say Fieldprints got this locked in, or Identigo got this locked in, or I looked it up on Google or ChatGPT and it says it has to go through them. And I know we talked at it on the very beginning, but can you just talk about what that means for real and how their service still works?
Sure, absolutely. And thank you, because I totally forgot as I was kind of talking about that. And
Yeah.
like I say, it's $3 to $9. And I'll say $3 to fingerprint. If you take their photo or do an I-9 or extra services, it makes it $9. So you got to do three things on the customer to make it $9 from Fieldprint, just so you can know that it's not one service you're doing. Just so think about it. You got to do three different services to get $9 out of that one customer. Okay. So as we go back and we talk about kind of open close hybrid a little bit, let's talk about close because that's the most one. And Identigo and Fieldprint has these contracts. So Identigo has the most. Identigo, think about it's like what would be the hugest signing company?
Signature closures or something, or
Yeah, something like them,
yeah.
or like a First American type, like something to that extent. They're global. When you go to the airport and you see those fingerprint stations, they're identical stations. But they have the name Idemia because that's their parent company. Their parent company is Idemia. They're global. I mean, it's crazy how big they are. Okay, so with every state, so Identigo has the most. Fieldprint is trying to catch them, but Fieldprint is losing contracts. Like Fieldprint had recently got Georgia like about 2 years ago. They lost it already. Identigo has it, right? So you have Identigo, but every place has a card scanning station. Every state that Identigo has a contract for, where they're processing background checks, they're processing it. So people can go there and get fingerprinted, and then they process it, or people can go anywhere and mail in a card. And they generally have, like, if someone is at least 30 to 40 miles away from a location, they can just automatically choose cards. But anybody can choose cards anyway. Like, hey, I don't like Identigo. It sucks. I don't want to go. Or I don't have the time to go there, but I can come to you today and get fingerprinted, and then I can just mail a card to their card scanning station. And so essentially, what someone would do is get fingerprinted by you with the card. They would go on Identigo's website, and when they're making an appointment, instead of saying make an appointment to go into an office, they'll choose the one that's like the middle category that says either middle or the bottom. It says mail in a fingerprint card instead. They'll click that. A statement comes up saying you're not able to go to an Identigo location. Click yes. And then they enter their demographic information, and then they pay Identigo for the background check. They're paying you for the rolling fee, Identigo for the background check. They'll print out a barcode sheet, and they'll put the card that they get from you and mail it to their card scanning station. That's essentially how it works for all of them. Field print for the few states they do have, and I think it's just Virginia, and they have Virginia. They have partial in Washington state. It's not a full thing in Washington. They just have those two, maybe one other that I want to say, and they make the customer mail the card to them. But that's only the two states that do that, where they have it, and they mail the card to the customer, then they'll do the card scan process. But for the ones that Identigo have, you just go on the website and then just choose that mail in card, and then boom, they're good to go. And then all your other states, you either just mailing in the cards or doing the card scan process for those other states. Like I do card scanning for people for Florida. So Florida only accepts live scan for their background checks, right? But the people that are out of the state, they're either mailing cards to a station so instead of Florida having a centralized one, they have independent vendors that are hard card scanning stations. I'm a hard card scanning station. So I do people from all across the world. I got people that send me stuff from Canada, from Japan, China, Dubai. They send me their fingerprint cards. It's the whole process, and I charge them an extra premium. And these are all $100+ appointments too that I'm doing for these people. Like everything I do, I'm trying to get $100 or more. I have a few, like you just get some cards, okay, that's 45 or 60. But everything else I'm doing, I'm getting $100 or more for all my appointments. So it's less work on me, more profit for me. And so these people, they're mailing me cards, and it's a process. I gotta make sure the cards look good, and then they send them to me. If they can scan them in a high quality resolution, I'll just print it out and scan it back in. If it's not, they gotta mail it to them. I scan it in, right? So, but all these places, they're getting cards. It's all done based off the card, and that's how we're doing these services, right? And that's just a kind of escalation of, your business and making sure, like I say, that this is, for you.
Yeah. So even when you hear that Fieldprint or Idemia has it locked in, there's a absolute workaround for that. There's
Yeah,
still
like my
opportunity.
Loomis people, all my execs that I archive, like all those people, they don't go back and like I archive prints, so that's free money. That's when you get the live scan system and stuff like that. But when I archive their prints, I print out cards, and so they don't go into, like, they're in Texas, they're here, like their admin goes on Identigo's site and chooses the card scanning process, and then I'll mail them the card, and then they'll mail it into Identigo's card scanning station, right? Or they'll send me the barcode sheet, and then I'll mail it out for them. Like they're not going to get fingerprinted again after, and going into Identigo's. Like that's one of the concierge services that I offer to archive. But something that's cool about this, when you're mobile and you're ink only, so I'm archiving their prints, right? I'm actually losing, believe it or not, I'm actually losing a little bit of money from archiving. It's convenient for them, but I'm losing money because if I was doing ink only, then every time they need fingerprint, they would have me come out every time. And guess what? I'm charging them a mobile fee every time, and then cards every time. So I actually lose a little bit of money for that, but my time is kind of limited, so it's okay for me to do the archiving services for them, right? But for yourself starting out like that, like that's great. Like you just keep going back every single time until if you decided to roll up into a live scan system and then kind of offer that, and then you can do yearly subscriptions and lifetime subscriptions, and it's all just made up services to make extra money off people.
Yeah, fantastic.
Mm.
All right. So, guys, we have been here for 93 minutes.
Oh
This has been
wow.
amazing. We have some really great questions still. Brandon, how are you energy wise and time wise? Do you have a few more minutes?
Yeah. Let's get a couple more questions and then we can hop out. So maybe another 10 minutes or so. If that
Okay,
works for you,
sounds
Bill.
good. We got a couple of questions that around government employees and in particular military. If
Hmm.
they need fingerprinting and they're off base where your business is this something you can help with?
Yeah, absolutely. So you always have to revert back to what their potential instructions were, right? So certain government facilities, they may have their own fingerprinting in-house, right? So if they have it in-house, then they're not going to go anywhere. But you have a lot of people that are government contractors that need to do work for the government, and they just send them instructions. Hey, you need to go get fingerprinted somewhere. That happens a lot of times with people, right? And so essentially, they're looking for either the Swift, which is electronic, or they can do cards. They can always do cards, no matter what. They can always do cards because everybody doesn't have Swift. I have Swift. That's Department of Defense fingerprinting, essentially. And SWIFT stands for Secure Web File Transfer, just so you guys can know what that stands for, but that's live scan stuff. But essentially, they would get fingerprinted on cards, all these contractors that are doing stuff with the government and get their background checked done, right? Boom. So that's how that would happen. If you're trying to get into a government to do the fingerprinting, that's when you got to go into contracts. If they put an RFP out there, what I talked about earlier, request for proposal to bid on a contract to do services specifically for that as an outside entity. So those would be like looking on sam.gov and some of the other federal sites, where they have uh, different contracts out there for you to bid upon. And then you just have to make sure you meet all the requirements to be able to fulfill it.
Excellent, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also a couple of questions I saw about uh, requiring law enforcement to do it or looking it up online and seeing that fingerprinting is only done by law enforcement in certain states. Can you maybe touch on what the misconception is there?
Yeah, once again, people, you can go to any independent place and get fingerprinted. So, for instance, North Carolina, they have SBI, and you have people that go to the sheriff's office to get fingerprinted. However, people can mail in cards. They don't have to go to the sheriff's office to submit cards to different state agencies. It says it on, for instance, North Carolina. I just brought it up. Go on North Carolina Department of Health or the Board of Nursing and see the instructions for fingerprinting. The easiest way to kind of find out, like, kind of how it works in your state is just like go in the Department of Nursing and kind of see what they say, what fingerprint options the customer has or the applicant has, right? And they'll say where they can go, but they can always just mail in the cards. Like it's not they don't always have to go there. You can mail in cards. You know, I seen somebody put something earlier about Indiana. Same thing. I've helped people in Indiana. I subcontract work to people in Indiana. Tasha Law and Notary, like Notary and fingerprinting. I subcontract work to her there. Like you can do this anywhere. It's not you can only go there. And Indiana is an identical state, so they can mail in cards if they're doing state-related services. And this is the thing too. I want people to realize everything. Like you're talking about open, closing hybrids. That's just state stuff. You have more than state-specific fingerprinting. We have federal fingerprinting. Federal supersedes state, right? And that's how I was able to kind of build my business in Texas because I focused on federal commercial fingerprinting services, right? I don't like everybody gets caught up in your own state and you're focusing on fingerprinting people you can't fingerprint. You're not gonna make no money. You're not gonna go anywhere. You have to focus on who you can service. I'm telling you, immigration, ATF, oil and gas, realtors. Like I'm telling you where to go get the money. Like that's where you're gonna be successful in this. Don't worry about people saying what you can't do and worry about what you can do. Focus on winning. That's where you're gonna be. That's where you're gonna do this in this business. And you have to have the attitude that I'm going to win. And it's a hard road of entrepreneurship. We all know this, but we have to go and get it. Like we have to go to the places where we know we can fingerprint people and make that a great experience, and then continue upon that so we can get repeat customers.
Well, I think that's a perfect mic drop moment and a perfect way
Okay,
to
sorry,
end
I
this
didn't. Sorry,
thing.
so I'm so
That was so
nervous.
perfect
So sorry. Yeah.
because focus on what you can do. There's going to be thousands of people that you cannot fingerprint or they don't want your services, but there's going to be tens of thousands more that do. So I love that, Brandon. Thank you so much for your time and just opening up your book and just showing that this is real in all 50 states. It absolutely can be done depending on what you are looking for, what you're focused on, or what story you're married to. So you've done a really great job of detailing that. I'm excited to work with you. I'm excited for all of you who sacrificed part of your workday to be here with us to learn about something new and what you can incorporate into your business. Remember, we have all 6 of these courses in this bundle available for $849. Payments are available through Affirm, Afterpay, and things like that. And it closes this Saturday at March 15th. Just visit securebiometrics.co/notary coach or check the links down below. Any closing words, Brandon?
Just thank you, Bill, for like I said, allowing me to speak to the audience and everything, and thank you everyone for your time today. I know we went a little bit over than what we said, but I hope y'all can see the passion behind this. I mean, this is my livelihood. I take it very seriously, and I want people to be able to see what you can do from this, and hopefully experience the things that I've experienced. Like fingerprints changed my life. I never thought I would be doing this. I'm actually an introvert, so actually talking to people is really not my thing. But once you ask me about fingerprinting, background checks, I'm on, right? Like I can talk about this all day and then go back into my corner, right? So, but I just want to thank you all for your time. I wish you well, and hopefully you can, purchase the course and see what I see and be able to, do great in this industry, and maybe it'll be your full-time thing like it became mine. So, thank you again, and have a wonderful week.
All right. Have a great week, everyone. Bye bye
Thank
now.
you.
Thank you. Bye.